Hey there folks, and welcome to my Solid Start Mage Guide. The intent of this guide is to get you a nice selection of int scaling Somber Weapons to choose from, boosting one of them to +9, as well as Rune Level 40 to 50, and a good loadout of spells and equipment all without direct combat, mainly utilizing cheese strats. You can start this off as any class, but we'll be doing Astrologer, and if you start as something that's not an Astrologer, please take note of the stat investment points during certain segments of the video, and if you're not interested in using a particular weapon, you can skip over it, but be sure to double check and make sure there's no other items acquired during that step which might be important for later strategies. With all that being said, let's hop in and do the thing. When you spawn in, progress through the tutorial and let the game spit you out at the first step, Grace. Tag any sites of grace you see on these routes. They all should be in the video, but it's important to grab them now to save some time later. To start, head up to the Church of Ella, grab the smithing stone, and then head north to the gate front Grace. Get Torrent and head immediately east across the bridge to grab the Somber Smithing Stone 1. It's not super important, but it'll save you a bit of runes later. After grabbing this, head east-southeast and swing by the 2 graveyard rune piles that you see. These also aren't super important, but they're handy to have. After grabbing the runes, head north through the forest to make sure you pick up any map points on your route. I'll skip some of these myself, but it'll be really handy if you're not familiar with the layout of most of the early game. Once you've gone far enough north, you'll reach the Third Church of Marika. This is an extremely important point for us, but we'll just be grabbing the items and tagging the Grace for now. Head west after tagging the Grace and follow the wind tunnels straight up towards Caelid. Once you're up to Rotview balcony, we'll start acquiring our first weapons. Head east down the cliff face and pop into the ruins directly beneath the giant crow. Use your stone sword key to swootle on inside the newly unlocked door, and inside you'll grab the Sword of St. Trina. This is a pretty powerful int scaling sword that has a sleep status attached to it. You can use it on the crow to sleep them and then head southeast towards the next Grace. Once you tag it, continue heading southeast towards the Merchant's Fire and hop down near the collapsed tall tower building. Inside you'll grab the Meteorite staff. This staff has an S scaling and int and can't be upgraded. Naturally that means it won't be great for endgame, but it'll absolutely carry you to mid-game and give you plenty of time to get one of the stronger scaling staves upgraded in that time. For now, it'll be super good for us. Heading northeast, you'll see another collapsed building with a few mushroom boys. Head inside and grab Rock Sling, which will be one of our early bread and butter spells. Rock Sling does some serious damage and lingers for a long time, making it a great long-range spell for cheese strategies. Once you grab that, head northwest into a canyon with blue crystals and grab the Somber Smithing Stone 5 from here. This is extremely important if you don't want to fight anything to obtain one early on, and once you grab that, head back to the Third Church of Marika. Once you've returned to the Third Church of Marika, head to the Waygate behind the Third Church and get ported to the Bestial Sanctum. Open the door, tag the Grace inside, then head down southeast down the path. Grab the golden seed here, this will be important later. Head south past Grail and swing by the graveyard and grab some more free runes. Next, hop down to Len's Rise and use the wind tunnel to jump up on the staircase to skip the tower requirements. It might take a couple jumps, but it's safe to try. This will net us a memory stone, which is super handy. Head back down the tower and hop out the balcony. Tag the Grace outside and head west under the bridge. Continue on this path and don't get hit by the boulder. Once you've reached the Grace at the bottom fork, you'll get the offer to go to Round Table Hold. Skip it by canceling out of the dialogue, or don't, it doesn't matter. Head back to the Smoldering Wall in Caelid for one more item. Head south until reaching the Caelid Waypoint Ruins. Inside the underground, you'll want to rush the door and grab the item inside. Tuck in the corner and quit out quickly to drop aggro and be able to portal back out. Alternatively, just haul it out and leave. Quitting out's safer but not mandatory for this. Now you've got your second int scaling weapon, the Meteoric Ore Blade. A solid katana that has an interesting moveset and a neat weapon art. It's not quite Moonveil levels of silly, but it does some serious damage. Once you're done, head back to Grail's Dragonbarrow Grace and follow the path all the way up to the Fort Faroth Grace. Head inside and book it up the ladder. Grab the Dectus Medallion and head for the hole in the southwest corner. Grab the golden rune 12, but don't get cute and die like I did. Hop across the gap and drop down the hole to get Radagon's Soreseal. This will be handy for early game stat requirements, but it'll be outpaced late game for other sorcery and faith specific talismans. For now, slap that bad boy on and enjoy the additional stats you've gotten from it. Pop a couple of runes, or just one, to get enough stats to get your int up to 18. That's all we need now to use the Meteoric Blade, and if you don't plan on using the Meteoric Blade or didn't pick it up, you can actually grab the Morning Star down here, and you should have the stats to use it at base level. But now that you can wield the Meteoric Blade in both hands, let's make a quick detour back to the first step. We don't do this step early, due to it being much faster to grab with Torrent. Head south and jump down onto the wind tunnels, grab the gold pickled Foulfoot, and head back to the Fort Faroth Grace. Now it's time to do ye old dragon cheese, which I'm sure you've seen a million times. I prefer to go over by the left leg and stay on Torrent for this. If you two-hand your weapon before mounting Torrent, or two-hand it while on Torrent, you'll meet the requirements for the katana. The bleed will not proc if you don't meet the stat requirements, so make sure you do this. Make sure you pop the Foulfoot before the last bleed goes off. You've got about 3 minutes, so there's plenty of time to finish them off. Once they're dead, that'll net us 5 Dragon Hearts and about 100,000 runes. Next stop on our wild ride is the Cathedral of Dragon Communion. Head south following the path from the smoldering wall, and eventually you'll land at the cathedral. Buy whatever stuff you want here, but make sure you pick up Rotten Breath. You may be thinking, why am I picking up Faith Trash for my mage build? If you're going to be doing any type of battle mage style build, some Faith is super handy to have, like the incantations we just picked up, or things like Flame Cleanse Me. It'll make your life much easier with extremely low investment. And now that we've accomplished that, it's time to take up the offer to go to the round table, so touch hands, get 200% Gregnant, and portal on over. All we need to do here for the sake of the guide is grab the Finger Seal and the Memory Stone from Old Huskoid, or whatever their name is. That'll set us back about 3,800 runes, but that's nothing at this point since the cheese has only just begun. Level up and use a few runes to get yourself to 15 Faith and 12 Arcane. Again, this will come in handy, and if you really don't want the Faith, just respec out of it later, it's not a big deal. Head back to the Farum Great Bridge for our next scummy stack of runes. Equip Rock Sling, Rotted Breath, the Finger Seal, Meteoric Staff, and use all your golden seeds and sacred tears. Make sure you assign all your flasks to Cerulean for this, because you shouldn't be taking any damage at all here. Approach Grail when their back is turned and get a few feet behind the tail. Hold down the Rotted Breath ability and rot the heck out of their butt. Literally spray the rot all over the butt. Once you've done about 300-ish damage, they should be afflicted with rot. Turn around and haul it back towards the Grace. Once you're back, hop up on the mountain and just watch them walk around with rot. Do this about 2 to 3 times and they'll be dead, getting you another 80,000 runes without ever touching the boss. Use your low-int Rock Sling if you really want to kill it and feel like a winner. Good job. You're the winner now. Now that we're sitting on a pile of about 150,000 runes, let's continue making bad decisions. Head back to the Gatefront Grace from the beginning and let's head out to Liurna. Once you're back, head up through the gates all the way to the Stormhill Shack. Make sure you grab the Golden Seed, this is actually really important. And continue heading up north towards the Collapse Bridge. Follow the path along until you reach the first Grace at Liurna of the Lakes. Swing by the church to the southwest and slap Toph on his bald head. And if you didn't start as Astro, it's a good chance to grab Pebble and Arc. Head northwest and grab the trash at the camp. There's no need to fight anyone here, just keep heading down the hill towards the Grace and the Merchant. Check the Merchant to see if there's any stuff you need. I personally love the lantern because it makes me feel like I'm playing Dragon's Dogma again. But it's not required. So head northwest and grab the map and keep going northwest until you hit the next Grace. Tag this Grace and continue northwest up to the gazebo in the distance and take that Waygate immediately. You can also rot spam the Revenant because Revenants are one of the worst enemies in the game and it'll feel good to just be a jerk. Once you've taken the Waygate, tag the Grace and head southwest towards the ledge. If you hop off at the right spot on this ledge, you won't take fall damage. Once you've done that, head west-southwest towards the next Grace. This is a bit of a run, so I'll put up a map for where you're headed. Tag the Grace and head north, hug the left cliff wall until you eventually see a caravan. Become the rot-spamming jerk you've always wanted to be and clear the area to be safe. You don't actually have to kill anything here, but stopping the trolls and grabbing the chests with low vigor can be really, really sketchy. So technically you don't have to kill anything, but it's way safer to do it. The Carian Knight Sword is the sword you'll get from the chest, and it's actually the sword we'll be using in this guide. I really like the moveset, and the weapon art's super fun to use. So continue north and tag any graces you come across. Finally, once we made it to the giant blacksmith, grab any missing somber stones you don't have and push your weapon up to +5. It's worth noting that if you somehow lost your runes or you dumped them too early, you can actually do a quick run through the Raya Lucaria tunnels and actually get most of these stones for free. This is already a really solid loadout for where we're at in the game. We're sitting on 150,000 runes to drop into int or other stats, several consumable rune items, a solid staff, a few decent spells, and a +5 weapon. Now if you're happy, you can stop here. However, if you want to push this weapon to +9 and get a few more weapons and spells, stick around because it's about to get stupid. I'll start this off by saying that this next step is completely optional. However, you've come this far, so you may as well keep going. This still won't require you to fight anything directly, so it'll still be a cakewalk. If you're also not interested in grabbing Moonveil, make sure you skip this next part as it is completely irrelevant to you. Originally, there was a cheese strat that actually involved not fighting the Magma Worm directly to get Moonveil early. That was patched in a roundabout way, so we'll have to take the Magma Worm down in Gale Tunnel to get it. Run through Gale and zip down to the bottom. Hit the Grace and face off against the Magma Worm. Even at low vigor, if you've pumped int, you'll slam his face with Rock Sling and make super quick work of him. Again, if you don't care about Moonveil, just skip this step, and if you did want it, congrats on your busted glow stick. Now that we've nabbed Moonveil for those who want it, let's continue by getting the weapon to +9. Head back into Caelid and let's swing by the Celia Tunnel. You can get here from the Dragonburnt Ruins portal, but you've already been all over Caelid, and it's honestly faster to just run here from another Caelid Grace. Tag the Grace inside, spend your runes, rest, and allocate all your flasks to Cerulean, and get ready for some of the biggest cheese on one of the most annoying early game bosses. Take note of the route I take up here. Once you're up top, kick down the ladder shortcut. The prawn mages, or whatever they're called, are a big pain in the butt. Run up to the boss gate and quit out quickly. Once you're back in, open the gate and quit out one more time. Ignore the in-game time on the character, that's the magic of having to wait for recordings and such. The first quit is to shed aggro from the prawnoids, and the second is to open up the fog wall. Traditionally, this boss can hit really hard and be a super pain if it's done early game. However, we're going to fight Rock with, Rock. Stand at this point in the fog wall and shoot your Rock Sling. It should clip through the fog wall and do damage to him. Try to make sure you're tagging it with 2 rocks to ensure you don't run out of mana here. If you're having mana trouble, you can try grabbing a Starlight Shard. There's a bunch of them in the overworld. You really shouldn't have any issues though. I finished him off with 2 flasks remaining. That'll net you a Somber Smithing Stone 6, one of the only ones available to us early game, and 5 standard rank 7 Smithing Stones. It's not a bad haul. Now that we're wrapped up here, let's work on getting that Somber 7 and a few other fancy things. Head back to the Raya Lucaria gate, hop down using the same method earlier, and then head west through the Temple Quarter and tag the Grace near the dragon. Head up behind the dragon, grab the Academy Glintstone and other items. Kill the dragon with Rot and Rock Sling if you really want, but it's not mandatory. He's a joke with your loadout at this point. Head back to the Grace outside the gate and head on through. Once inside, we're going to head up the elevator and get ready for a really sweaty run. Make your way straight up to the Academy and dodge the Zappy boys. Tag the Grace in the room to the left, get murdered, grab your stuff, and get ready to head back out the door to the left outside. This is another instance that I'd highly recommend shedding your runes for levels, since we'll be taking a mandatory death here in a moment. I would also recommend you reassign some of your flasks back to health, since we'll need it in the next section. In the graveyard, just follow the path and try not to die. Once you've reached the next set of gates in the water wheel, let's make a quick pit stop and get some fancy new gear. Hop out the window, down the cliff, and grab the Carian Knight set. Head on back to the water wheel, and it's time to go on an adventure. Head all the way down to the bottom, and you'll see an old wheeloid. That's the official name, trust me. You'll want to get caught by the grab attack, so just back down and dodge until you see its noodly little hands pop out. Once you've been grabbed, you're going to get teleported to Volcano Manor. Now this is why I recommend spending your runes before leaving, because I personally forgot and I had to go back for mine. Head west and follow the path, healing when necessary. Climb up the ladder and you'll see a locked door. And when has that ever stopped us? Make a fancy little hop around the corner here to open the door and grab the grace on the other side. This is a good safety grace for solid warping back to. And once you've got that sorted, head back up the stairs, east, and hop inside the elevator cage directly ahead. Avoid Foreskin Freddy, or whatever his name is, and head over to the drawbridge. Pull the lever and let it come up. Now we'll be doing some sweet platforming to get our Somber 7. Just follow the method used in this video. It might take a couple attempts, but this is completely safe to retry. Once you're up, grab the stone, run through the doors, and make your way up to the primary grace of Volcano Manor. Take a rest, and then port out to Dragonbarrow in East Caelid. Again, this is one of the only early game options that I know of, and it gets us some nice graces in the northern parts of the map. If you know of a Somber 6 or 7 that's actually accessible earlier than this, please let me know in the comments. The Somber 8 and 9 stones are absolutely comical to get compared to the 6 and 7. Head west over to the Divine Tower and grab the items in the chair circle down below. Once you grab the Somber 9, head back up the cliff towards the top and kill the small beetle and get his Somber 8. This dude explodes, so use your spells to take care of him if you can. Now that we're all set, let's head back to the giant blacksmith and upgrade our weapon of choice to +9. Again, we're using the Carian Knight Sword, and we'll actually be dual wielding it with another honorable mention here coming up in a second. Congrats on the weapon, and now let's go grab the weapon I'll be using in the dual wield setup with the Carian Knight Sword. Head back to the academy and use the same path we used to get the water wheel. Hop off halfway up and run inside of the next grace. We'll be farming this guy for his Lazuli Glintstone Sword. Pop any silver fowl feet if you have them. It's not required, but it does make it a lot faster. Once you've got the drop, head back to the blacksmith and let's push it up to +4. I really like the weapon art on the Glintstone Sword since it's a decently hard-hitting pebble spell. So between the two arts in this dual wield setup, I like the fact that we have a short-range quick skill and a big charge up as well. Now that we've gotten our weapons all upgraded and we've got some pretty heavy stat investment, there's a couple more optional things I can actually recommend. You can pick up Flame Cleanse Me at this location in Eastern Liurna, and there's some mega optional stuff here at the end that you don't have to do, but it's free runes, so let's do it. Head back into the academy and run up to the next boss fog up the stairs. Dust off the old rock sling cheese and obliterate the red dog of Radagon through the fog. This will net you another memory stone and give you access to the rest of the academy. And there's a ton of good spells and items in here, including the Glintstone Wet Blade, which will allow you to infuse normal weapons for magic damage and cold damage, both of which can be really good for your build. Once you poked around here and sent the old dog to pasture, head back to the grace in Volcano Manor that we unlocked earlier. Keep in mind this next bit is 100% a glitch and will probably get patched in the future. If so, it's only around 50k runes, so it's not a big deal. Approach the altar of the boss and trigger the fight. Quit out and land back at the fog wall. Once there, tap to approach until you see Traverse the Mist. Stand still and pull your character back and to the left. If you see them raise up on some geometry and then noodle around the edge, you can break the boss AI. If this doesn't work, quit out and try again. This is once again not even remotely mandatory, but it does net you a fun heavy thrusting sword and some runes. I would also like to recommend grabbing the Carian Piercer from Carian Manor. It's not the greatest spell, but it's really fun to nail enemies with in melee. At this point, it's time to wrap up, so let's go slap Margit. Now you're free to go about playing the game normally. I've always personally loved the Souls series for allowing me to do all kinds of shenanigans before reaching the first boss, and Elden Ring has a ton of potential for that. We're going to stop here due to time, but there's still a ton of spells like the night sorceries you can get from Gowry and Millicent's quest, and all the stuff littered around the Academy and the world in general to be gathered, but this video would be over an hour long if we covered all of it. If you enjoyed this video and want to see it done with other starting classes or different specializations, leave a comment below and make sure to like and share the video to appease the algorithm gods. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Have a good one.